What's up, Who That Nation? It is March 15th, 2:33 p.m. Central Time. I understand that a lot can happen, so just bear with me. Everybody that's coming in, viewing, everybody in the chat, what's up with y'all? I just want to say, if there's any breaking news, because I know that's going to happen a lot, please let me know. It's so hard to keep up. I felt like that's why I had to come on here and do a show because so much has happened since the last time I've been on. And yeah, we have a lot to discuss. So let's get to it. Let's talk New Orleans Saints and let's talk free agency. But before we do that, let's get into this chat. We got a few people here. We got Elite. Shout out to you, Elite. I see Dub Carleon. He says, "Who that?" Shout out to you. Uh, Shout out to everybody. I just want to say, man, it has been a wild free agency as of late. And I mean, pretty entertaining, I'll say. Like, I feel like this, man. I understand, like Saints, they haven't really had this crazy offseason thus far. This outside of signing Derek Carr, but I mean, just restructuring contracts, which they needed to do just to get under the cap, and Michael Thomas, that's huge news. We're going to get into that. It's just so much to talk about. I don't even know where to start, but let's get into it. So, first thing I guess we can talk about is the Kalen Saunders and Nathan Shepard. Excuse me. I mean, these guys are new. I'm still learning their names, so I know I'm not going to be correct just pronouncing these guys' names. But anyway, yeah, we got Kalen Saunders. We got Nathan Shepard. Kalen and Nathan, they both was signed to 3-year deals. One $14.5 million, the other $15 million. Now I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I'm just gonna put it out there. I do not know any of these guys, but look, from what I do know, they are backup. They were backup guys in their respective teams, their former respective teams, the Chiefs and the Jets. So I mean, they're not really starters. So let's keep it real here. Saints, they haven't really had too much going on at the defensive tackle position. You have Anyamata, who's going to Atlanta. That dude, he's an opponent at this point. We're gonna get into that. It's just so much going on, bro. Like Shy Tuttle, he also went to the Carolina Panthers. I don't know what made these guys decide, they all want to go to our rivals. I don't get it, but we gonna definitely get into all that, man. So I see we got more people in the chat. Shout out to Jerry. Jerry says WD, Elite, Dub. Shout out to you, Jerry, man. Good to see you, OG. So yeah. So hold on. I see Dub Cornell. He says DA told us not to expect any black splash signings. I believe him. Yeah. And I mean, I could pretty much agree with that. I wasn't expecting anything crazy either. I'm just happy that I'm happy with some of the moves that we made, like resigning Michael Thomas. We resigned Jawan Johnson, JT Gray to no. I think the really shocking one for me is Jameis, and I'm kind of happy about it. I'm gonna get into that as well. Jerry says it has been a crazy 3 days in free agency. Yes, Jerry, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of speechless with some of the stuff that is happening right now. I'm trying to let it all come together in my mind because it's a lot to discuss. And we're really going to have a show this upcoming weekend. I'm not sure if I'll be on, but I feel like if we wait till the weekend come, I feel like a lot more is going to happen. So I guess, look, before we talk about the Saints specifically, let's talk about what's going around the NFL. Let's start with the Bucks. Let's go within our division, the Bucks. Baker Mayfield, man, if I didn't know any better, and maybe I don't, I just feel like it's crazy that I feel like they tanking, man. I feel like they tanking. They're trying to tank for Caleb Williams, and I don't like that, man. I don't want Caleb in the division. Let's keep it real. Whatever team he lands to, we can all expect him to be a pretty great to elite quarterback. So I mean, wherever he goes, I feel like he's gonna be there for 10 years. And I ain't trying to see that in the division. Nobody's trying to see that. No, none of the opposing teams are trying to see that. Unless it was us, and I doubt we take. I doubt we tank for Caleb. I mean, this organization, they still believe that we can win, and we can, especially with Derek Carr. I feel like we can win. Resigning Michael Thomas is a huge deal. Shout out to you, Saints. Good to see you, man. It's been a while since I've seen you, but shout out to you. Yeah, so Baker Mayfield, man. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. I think Bucks about to tank. I know they just re-signed Levante David. That just happened moments ago. I'm just still trying to like process all this news that's going on because it's been wild. It's been a wild ride. And like I said, I've been pretty entertained, man. I'm laughing at some of the stuff that's happening. It's crazy. Let's see. If we talking about the rest of the league, I just want to put this out there because I know we need a running back. But the Cowboys, they have informed their former player Ezekiel Elliott that they are releasing him. So yeah, Ezekiel Elliott is out of there. And I know some people are going to ask, should we sign him? Now, I'm going to keep it real with you. I know a lot of people not going to agree. This is just my honest opinion. I'm not too crazy about signing Ezekiel Elliott. Will I be totally against it? No. We need a running back, like I said. And to be frankly honest with you, with a suspension looming for Elvin Kamara, potential suspension that they don't want to put it out there that is going to happen, but it's probably likely. We probably need two running backs. And look, the reason why I'm not too crazy about having Ezekiel Elliott is because there's so many running backs out there, man. I mean, the market is crazy at this point. Not only in free agency, but this draft is heavy with running backs. And I feel like we could use a lot of. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of other running backs, younger running backs that has a lot of potential, man. And we talking about the guy from Alabama that's in the draft, that could be a potential get for us if we go that route. What's his name? B. John Robinson. I would love him, man. Let's keep it real though. He's not going to make it to the Saints. We could talk about Spears out of Tulane. That's just talking about the draft, but there's just so many running backs out there, man. It's just, I don't know. I feel like we could do a lot better than Ezekiel Elliott. I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm too good or we are too good for Ezekiel Elliott. But just looking at it with Ezekiel Elliott, this is the same guy. I feel like he's the reason why it's a tough market for the running backs. Why they can't get 15? Why they can't even get 15 million? So I'm just laughing at that. And I'm just thinking like, man, it's crazy. And I know a lot of teams are going to be interested in Ezekiel Elliott, and maybe the Saints should be. But even if we were to get Ezekiel Elliott, I feel like we should probably draft a running back regardless. I hope that happens. We'll see. I know the closer the draft comes, that's when we'll probably talk about the draft a lot more. So, yeah. Back to the signings that we made earlier this season. Not earlier this season, I'm sorry, earlier today. Kalen Saunders, that was one. Nathan Shepard. Like I said, these are pretty much rotational guys, backups. We didn't really have anything. Like with Ayamada and Shy Tuttle out the door, we don't really have anybody out there. And I forgot there was probably one guy currently on the roster. I don't even know. I think his name is Emily or something. Or might be his last name. Might be saying his name wrong. I'm not sure. But it's just like the fact that we didn't have nothing going on. It felt like we immediately had to sign some defensive tackles, and I think that's what we did. Not to take anything away from these guys. These guys might be very solid. I'll do my homework. I'll research, their production. We'll see. So yeah, there's also another signing that happened just a week ago that I feel like we have to touch on. And I feel like this one has pretty much went under the radar. But shout out to Ugo Amadi. Maybe I might be saying his name wrong. Ugo Amadi, I guess. He's a safety / nickelback, but he also plays special teams. yeah, I don't see too many people talking about this signing. So I don't really know if this is going to be more of a camp body. But look, this guy, he was pretty productive with the Seattle Seahawks. Not so much with the Chiefs, who he was recently with. He actually won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, but he didn't really get that much playing time. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think the team prior to that, he was with the Tennessee Titans. So yeah, I mean, we signed a safety who can also play nickelback, special teams guy. Look, when I seen this sign, I was thinking like, I wonder what's going to happen to JT Gray. But we actually re-signed JT Gray, so we're going to get into that as well. And yeah, I mean, if we talking about backup safeties, because I mean, we need depth there. We know Marcus May, he's going to probably be suspended. Not guaranteed, but it might be likely just because of past issues. Not going to get into that too much. But yeah, so Saints, they have made some moves. They've made some moves regarding signing players from other teams. But I expect things to get more interesting as far as signing players from other teams. It's just that we are just maneuvering, trying to get under the cap. And where we stand at the cap at the moment, I think we are it's either one or the other, but we are slightly over the cap or we are slightly under the cap at the moment where it stands. So yeah. And look, shout out to the chat, shout out to the viewers once again. I just want to put it out there though, if there's any breaking news that happens, please let me know, because it's so hard to keep up with so much that is going on. I just saw that Juju, he's with the Patriots now, who just won the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. I'm just like, wow, I'm shocked they didn't re-sign him. But I mean, Chiefs, the way the Chiefs is getting to championships and stuff like that, probably don't need to be that much of a necessity for them, as they could probably go out and get another offensive weapon and do their own thing. So I'm just like taking it all in with all this news, man. I'm like, wow, it's been crazy. And I feel like the past few off seasons as far as free agency has been crazy. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm just like I'm just so dumbfounded. I'm just like, wow, man, all these moves is happening around the league. I don't know. I just don't know what else is to come. But like I said about Ezekiel Elliott earlier, look, I see this list of running backs right here: Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette. I told y'all how I felt about Leonard Fournette. Not too crazy about him, as I see other guys that could probably cost less, or just some guys in the draft that we could draft. You know what I mean? And they could probably, I feel like they could probably have a higher ceiling than Ezekiel Elliott and Leonard Fournette. So. Yeah, let's talk about these other running backs that I see, though. I see Miles Sanders. He's available. Kareem Hunt. They got Chase Edmonds. I did like what's his name? Dante Foreman. Yeah, I like him. I like Jamal Williams. I'm pretty shocked that the Lions did not re-sign Jamal Williams. This guy he went over 1,000 yards in rushing. So I'm just like, wow, how is this guy not even signed yet? They got James Robinson, who's had his fair share of injuries. He was once with the Jaguars and the Jets. Alexander Madison, he was a solid backup behind Delvin Cook. You got Damian Harris, who was once a pretty solid starter for the Patriots just a couple years ago. Jared McKinnon. I think Jared McKinnon was recently with the Chiefs. I think he had a career year with the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. But as you can see, I'm just naming all these running backs. These ain't just any names. These are guys that was once solid or just previously had great seasons this past season. And I'm just like, wow. That's why I'm like, we don't even have to settle for somebody like Ezekiel Elliott and Leonard Fournette. And how I feel about Leonard Fournette, I feel like he's been lazy recently. I just don't know if he has that will to wanting to win. So that's how I look at the running back market at this point. Yeah, man. So like I said, y'all, a lot is going on. I'm just trying to go down the list here. It's just so much. trying to keep up with the current news that's going on, what we have done. We can also talk about, let's talk about our depart, the guys that signed with other teams, the departure. I can't even talk right now. Departure. It's just so much stuff that's going on, y'all. Bear with me. But Ayamada, man, Atlanta, Payton Ellis, Atlanta, Tuttle, went to Carolina, Davenport, Minnesota, Dalton, Carolina. Now y'all know how I pretty much feel about Andy Dalton. I don't really have anything too much to say with him at the moment. I just want to say, as far as he go, just keep doing what you're doing, Dalton. Just keep doing what you're doing. Davenport, man, look, I feel like I gotta cut the music on this one, man. All right, so as far as Dalton goes, I mean, as far as Davenport goes, I'm glad we moved on from him. I know the way the team felt is like, okay, we messed up. We pretty much messed up trading up for this guy. He showed some potential, bro, but he just ain't put it all together. He had his fair share of injuries. We know it. But what really did it was just having a half a sack, man. We did not trade up for this guy to have only a half a sack. Yes, he can be a good disruptor. He could be a solid one at that. But if you ain't even getting a sack a season, it's time to let you go. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. It was time to revamp this D-line. I understand Ayamada. He had, 6 sacks this past season. But, bro, I mean, if you look at the D-line, if you paid attention this past season, our run defense was just not the same as years prior. And look, Ryan Nielsen, damn good D-line coach, right? He's the Atlanta defensive coordinator. So it's not pretty shocking seeing them go after Ayamada and what's his name? Payton Ellis. In fact, I even say Payton Ellis, I feel like that's the loss I feel like that's the big loss for us at the moment. I feel like that's the biggest loss because Payton Ellis, look, he had his own injuries, but as you can see last season, he was definitely on the come up, man. I think he had 6.5 sacks, if not 6 sacks. Just a really, really solid third linebacker behind Pete and Demario. So I'm like, dang, they really stole Payton Ellis from us. Not too shocking though, because look, these guys, they gotta go get their bag. It's just the fact that they went to teams within our division, and how I feel about that, man. I just feel like I feel like, dog, they, as far as Ayamada go, I always felt like he always had something. I feel like he always had a chip on his shoulder. So it's not really shocking to see him go to Atlanta, next to Grady Jarrett. I feel like that's a big move. But I look, Ayamada, he's one to have so many suspensions. I feel like if he gets suspended again, he would probably be out for 10 games. So there's that. So as much as I kind of wanted to resign Ayamada, I felt like he was starting to decline a little bit despite having that many sacks he had this past season. Just the fact that he's been out of so many games at the start of the seasons, every time he was suspended, I felt like that's helped him decline a bit. Not to say that he can't get his career back in order with Atlanta. I hope it doesn't happen. Atlanta is Atlanta. So maybe he might, have a resurgence with it in his career. I don't know. We'll see. As far as Shia Tuttle, that was definitely a solid rotational piece, not a starter. But just losing him, that's huge. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about our losses. And let's get back to the comments at the moment. I see T Dirty in the house. Shout out to you, T Dirty. Dada Saints, he said, I've been chilling, WD. I don't be on social media as much as I used to be. Hey, man, I feel that, man. Social media, you can only consume it. Let me cut off this music while I'm talking about the chat, by the way. But yeah, I was gonna say, social media, man. We can only consume so much of social media at this point, man. It's just a lot of stuff be happening, you know. But that's another topic, man. Let's get back to it. T Dirty said, "What up, who that family, man? Shout out to you, T Dirty. Nice to see you. Nice to see you." Dub, he says, "I think Malcolm Roach deserves more snaps as a backup if he desires to stay." Hey, look, yeah, I hope Malcolm Roach does stay because actually he's been really, really solid for us. Yeah, Malcolm Roach is definitely good, and I'll say I feel like he's better than Shy Tuttle. Malcolm Roach, I know Shy Tuttle. He had his moments, you know, stiff arm intercepting Matt Ryan and then stiff arming him. That was pretty much his biggest moment. We love seeing Saints do crazy stuff to Atlanta, man. That's always fun to watch. But Malcolm Roach, I feel like he's just overall a better player. So yeah, I would like to see us keep him. Jerry says shocking. What's shocking, man? There has been a lot of things that's been very, very shocking, to say the least. Debo, shout out to you. Debo the guy, he says these two DT signings to me are rotational signings. I still want to draft a first round D tackle. Yes, we don't have a starting D tackle on our roster at the moment. So yeah, you say we got an undrafted defensive tackle. I forget his name. I think it's Emily or something like that. That might be his last name. I'm gonna have to go look him up. But Debo also says Hardy went to the Bills. Yes, just saw that, by the way. Hardy has went to the Bills, and how I feel about Hardy, man. Look, when we first got him, it was just so nice to see a return specialist coming out of college, man, where he went to Assumption. He was very, very, very productive in college. But I forgot he got suspended. Yeah, just not thinking about it, he did get suspended. And yeah, pretty much. I think outside the suspension, I think what happened with the auntie, I think he was hurt too. He definitely been hurt a bit, but I think he was starting to feel a type of way being on the team because for one, I think he wanted to get paid a lot more last season. And I feel like that kind of showed up in this play a bit. I don't know. I did see that. Rashid Shaheed, we saw him take over for Deontay. Not only just after him being injured, but Deontay Hardy, I think he had a fumble. If not, it was the season prior to that. And it just seemed like ever since he just went on a downhill spiral a bit, man. But look, I feel like that's still a huge get for the Bills. Maybe they'll get something out of him, man. I mean, Bills, they already got a lot of offensive weapons. And I feel like he definitely suits their style of play. So shout out to Hardy, man. Sad to see you go, but it is what it is, man. We got to keep moving forward. Dub says, I'm glad Davenport left. Yes, I can definitely agree. I'm not too happy that we traded up for him in the first place. In fact, I'm just not happy about the 2019 draft class in general. I'm sorry, I said 2019 draft class. That was the 2018 draft class. We still got Tre'Quan Smith on the roster, and I'm not crazy about him. I feel like we need to let him go. I know they use him as a band-aid every time a guy goes down. Let's see, when Jarvis went down last season, we saw Tre'Quan, and even when he's out there starting, he just doesn't do much, man. He doesn't do nothing. He'll probably do something every now and then, but Tre'Quan, he doesn't do much outside of blocking. So not to say that they'll cut him, but I wish they would cut him because I'm tired of relying on the dude, and I feel like every time we rely on him, he just does nothing. He does little to nothing. So it is what it is. Debo says Ayamala wasn't ever popping off the screen to me. I disagree with that. I think he popped off a bit that 2018 season. Wait, was it 2018 or was it 2019? It was one of those seasons. I feel like he was actually turning up a bit early that season. I think he had to have a suspension, and that kind of like that just put everything else to rest for the most part. I don't think. I feel like ever since he didn't really recover from that, and then he didn't go to being more than solid, I'll say. But yeah, I feel like he turned up a couple of times, but P1 is way better than Ellis, but he wasn't going to give him that we wasn't going to give him that contract. I agree. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, nobody ain't saying that Pete ain't better than Ellis. That's pretty much obvious. Shout out to P1. I just recently did a highlight video on P1. I uploaded on my own channel and on this podcast channel. Shout out to P1, man. He definitely proved me wrong. He proved a lot of people wrong, but I just want to say he proved me wrong because I had doubt when we drafted him. I was like, man, he's been injured a bit, which has actually only been the downside to having him. But other than that, man, he's been a great player. He's been a phenomenal player that he's the next best linebacker. So I'll say it again. If y'all haven't seen that video, please go watch that video. Yeah, it was fun actually making this highlight, man, because I felt like I definitely owed him a highlight video, man, because he's phenomenal. Shine Boy Mike says we should get Slay. Oh, you think so? I don't know. I feel like you're gonna have to drop a bigger. I feel like you have to drop a big bag for Slay. Not to say it's a huge bag, but I just don't think we should. We don't have that much bread. You know what I mean? So I mean, when we got starters like Lattimore, we got starters like Alontae Taylor, and I still don't know why Debo is on the chart in front of him. I mean, I'm pretty sure the camp will have a lot to say about that as far as Alontae Taylor showing out. But we have our starters at corner. So I mean, why would we have to drop a huge bag at Darius Slay? No, don't get me wrong. I would love to depth. Really, I think we need to resign Roby, not to be a starter, but to be a backup. So I mean, we have our cornerbacks, and even with a Debo, who really had he showed a bit of decline this past season after getting injured in a preseason. Well, at camp, that's when he got hurt. So I mean, I just don't see the need to drop a huge bag on Darius Slay. But would I like Slay? Yeah, I mean, I'm not against the player. It's just we don't really need him. Debo says Hardy got a decent bag too, like $12 million for 2 years. He got one hell of an agent. Yeah, we definitely didn't need to drop that bag for him, man. Debo also says I'm still tripping over Turner was getting healthy scratches when Davenport was hurt. Yeah, that's another one. I mean, we drafted him, and he hasn't really showed much. And really, we've been joking so much calling him Davenport 2.0, man. Because I mean, at this point, man, they've had their flashes, and really Payton Turner, he's really only had one game where he showed flashes, and I mean, we haven't really seen too much outside of that, so that's pretty concerning there. And we sitting up here talking about needing edge defenders, man, defensive tackles, and yet we drafted this guy in the first round, and it just pretty much tell anybody what was going, like, just what I really can't understand what the Saints were thinking drafting this guy. I was thinking like, hey, maybe the fact that Trey Henderson, we couldn't re-sign him, we couldn't drop that bag on him, the Bengals did. So maybe it was time to get a edge rusher. Cameron Jordan was probably on his way out. And now here we are with 3 more seasons of Cameron Jordan. Not to say that it's bad, but heavily relying on him to make plays and him being the only defensive end to, be reliable. I mean, outside of Carl Granderson and passing, I mean, those are solid rotational pieces, just shouldn't be starters. It just pretty much says everything you need to know about Payton Turner at this point. But we'll see about him. So Debo says, son, I was calling him Davenport 2.0 the day we signed him. I never liked the signing. Man, look. I ain't got nothing else to say about Payton Turner, man. Until he shows something, man, I don't really want to have anything else to say about him. But Yeah. Let's talk about who we resigned, man. Shout out to Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, 1 year, 2 million. Um, I'm just gonna say this, man. Uh, Shout out to Michael Thomas, man. I'm so happy that he's still in the black and gold. I really hope this guy retires. I mean, I just really hope the rest of his career he's with the Saints, man. I don't want to see him in any other team in any other colors. I'm just so glad that he's still here. I feel like a huge reason why he's still here is because of Derek Carr. He helped pull Derek Carr in along with Tyrann Mathieu, and I feel like signing a certain quarterback is the reason why he's still here. If that wouldn't have happened, I feel like he would have been out the door. So yeah, what I want to discuss is what Derek Carr had to say about Michael Thomas. So I just read this. It says that Derek Carr says that the first time I talked to Michael Thomas on the phone, I don't think he wanted me to get off the phone. I really enjoyed talking to him. I told Mickey, when you talk to Mike Thomas, you feel like you can face the world. He also says when Michael Thomas started recruiting and talking to me, he wasn't even trying to recruit me. He was just like, when are we getting to work? We're wasting time. Time is ticking. I was like, dude, I'm the same way. We'll get there. But I think that our relationship has grown through the process. I can just say this, man. I'm so excited. I'm pretty happy about this. I'm just excited just for just the chemistry that Derek Carr and Michael Thomas already has. Like maybe this is probably going to be the connection that the Raiders fans wanted from Derek Carr to Devontae Adams. If not, it could be better. Let's just hope Michael Thomas stays healthy. We all hope he stays healthy. But yeah, I just can't express how happy I am that he's still in the black and gold. I just really hope he stays healthy. As you can see, after the past injuries he's had, to say that he came back, he went off AJ Terrell in that first game with Jameis, man, specifically in the third and the fourth quarter. I think that's pretty telling just how great of a player Michael Thomas still is. He's good. It speaks for itself. I know a lot of people did not expect, including myself. I was kind of expecting Michael Thomas to be out the door, man. Just the way things was going. He wasn't happy with Andy Dalton. He wasn't happy with Jameis Winston. I know how we feel about some of us. How we feel about Jameis Winston. He didn't get his fair share of just an opportunity here. We're gonna get into that because he's resigned. I'm shocked about that as well. But just the fact that Michael Thomas, he feels happy about Derek Carr. I think that says everything you need to know about how we should probably feel about Derek Carr. And I'm not saying that the fans, we can be skeptical of the player because Derek Carr, he hasn't really lived up to the hype he once had. But just when it says it all, I just feel like Derek Carr, he's a borderline above average player. I would like to see him win the playoffs. I feel like he has an opportunity to do that here with this roster at the moment. We got a bit of holes in our rosters at the moment, but if we plug in a few guys, man, some solid guys, I feel like with Derek Carr, we should be able to be back in the playoffs. Yeah. So we talking about other resignings that we had. We can talk about JT Gray. Like I said, when we signed Udu, however you say his name, man, I was shocked. I was like, man, I'm pretty glad that they did resign JT Gray just because. I mean, this guy, he's been a pretty good special teamers, man. I mean, I'll say this, man. I don't want to say he's better than Justin Hardy, but I mean, he's put up the same production as Justin Hardy. When we let him go, that we was kind of upset about that. But yeah, I mean, JT Gray, I feel like he picked up where we left off with Hardy. So he's been that guy. He's a special teams captain. I'm happy about the move. We signed him for 3 years, 9.6 million. Jawan Johnson, 2 year, 14.5. I'm so glad to see Jawan back in the black and gold. Last week, I look when CB was on, I did see somebody say that Jawan Johnson, he's not a true tight end. I disagree. Jawan Johnson, look, I'm not too crazy about him being tight end number one, but he's a solid tight end number one to say the least. That being said, I feel like we should go after another tight end, probably a number one tight end, you know, a crazy tight end. I mean, one who's I don't want to say like, you know, look, I would love somebody like George Kittle or somebody like that. But I mean, if we talking about getting crazy at tight end, man, I would love to see a Mike Gesicki or somebody like that. I would love to see us draft somebody like Darnell Washington. I don't think Darnell is gonna fall to the Saints. I definitely don't see that happening, but we'll see. As far as to know, he's a backup rotational guy. Glad to see him back in the black and gold, 2 years, $6 million deal. And we're gonna get into Jameis right now. I just want to read this piece by Jameis Winston. Yeah, Jameis, he says, why I came back. First, I love the city. In all my professional career, I've never felt so constantly in tune with a fan base. The Saints fans that I've met have been incredible. Y'all have made me and my family feel at home. This is why last season was so disappointing to me. I want to see this team and city succeed. I know great things are ahead for this team and this city. I was led here by the spirit. That's why I would never run away from this new challenge. The things that led me here are still here. A stable organization, a championship caliber team, and a great fan base. This year's team, like last year's team, is built to win a Super Bowl. Let there be no doubt. I am still a championship caliber starting quarterback. Y'all heard him, huh? That's what he said. He said it, not me, in this league. However, getting healthy and staying healthy is my number one priority, and I have suffered 3 devastating injuries over the last 2 years. I need to stay healthy to assist this team in getting to where we want to go. Most importantly, I need to stay healthy to get me where I want to go in my career. With that being said, I will serve and lead however I need to see this organization and city win. I am proud to say for one. Okay, so look, let's talk about it. Hold on. All right, Debo, I see you coming. James is a great guy, man. Dude deserves better than us. Hey, look, he's a damn good. He's a damn good. Look. He's a damn good guy, man. I love James, man. I love his personality, man. I'm glad that he's a backup. I'm glad he's our backup. I would rather him be our backup than Andy Dalton. I'll just say that. Now I'm gonna keep it real with you. I did not see this happen. I thought, look, Jerry says Debo loves James. Hey, I love his personality, dog. I really do. So I'm just shocked that he signed him, man. I'm shocked that he re-signed him because look, the way that they did him, I felt like he didn't really have a good enough opportunity to, you know, show himself, especially with the injuries this past season. But look, I was saying, man, the Saints, they would probably do best for Jameis by releasing him because I feel like he could have an opportunity with another team. And maybe I was wrong on that because now that I think about it, I feel like I don't think a number one quarterback opportunity for him would have been on the silver platter for him. I don't think he was going to get that, you know. Wherever he went, I feel like he was going to have to compete with somebody that maybe a team drafts a quarterback or signs another veteran. I don't know. But maybe this is the better opportunity for Jameis because, I mean, after being hurt, maybe it was going to hurt, you know, it was probably going to hurt him in the future. Let's say he did go to another team, like I just said, and he was going to have to compete and probably not be able to get a starting opportunity. So maybe I was wrong on that. Maybe this is better for him. I'm just shocked that he signed him, dude. I'm shocked that he did that. Cornelius says, by the way, shout out to you, Cornelius. He says, go from sitting behind Drew to Andy to Derek. Well, hey, Brian, I ain't got too much to say to that. All I gotta say is, man, shout out to James. I'm just glad to see that we've gave him another opportunity to show himself. But yeah, it is what it is. Debo says, WD, no lie, I've been one of Winston's hardest critics. But when I seen him sign back with us, my heart warmed up a little bit, bro. Like, dude legit loves us and the Saints, but this isn't the best move for him. It probably ain't the best move, but I mean, I'm like I said, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if any team would have just gave him the number one spot. Like, he was going to have to compete regardless. You also said I didn't want Winston to be our starter coming into the season. Yeah, I can agree with that too. By the way, so I'm not capping. Yeah, I can definitely agree. I felt like it was time to move on from both him and Dalton, especially Dalton. But yeah, man, I mean, look, I've been a critic of Winston. I didn't really want to sign Winston to begin with when he first showed up here because I was not a fan of his game. Look, he was notorious for throwing interceptions, his decision making. We know that he holds the ball too long, all this other stuff. But I felt like with Sean Payton, after a while, it kind of grew on me. He kind of grew on me. I was like, maybe this is an opportunity, man. Like maybe Sean Payton could, fix him, help him, and maybe he'll flourish into being a good quarterback and make the playoffs. Unfortunately, look, the season prior to that, man, he was starting to show something despite having a no-name receiving core. He was starting to show something, man, and he just unfortunately got injured. So that just, man, it's just, unfortunately things happen like that, man. In this league, it's a tough business. But Debo says, WD, you seen the meme and picture with Dalton and Winston looking at each other on the sideline? And it says, shoot trash. Yeah. I did see that. The Eminem twins, Dalton and Winston, bro. Yeah, bro. Look, I said it before, man. Neither were I felt like Jameis nor Andy Dalton were the answer to being the Saints quarterback. But yeah, here we are. This is it all, man. We got Derek Carr in the house. I'm not going to sit up here and say Derek Carr is this great quarterback. I know what he is. I feel like he's a borderline above average quarterback who has definitely been on some dysfunctional teams. I just want to know how far can we go with Derek Carr with this coaching staff at that too. I feel like Dennis Allen, he needed Derek Carr. He not only drafted him, but he needs him at this point. Derek Carr, look, I didn't really say too much, but y'all really know how I feel about Derek Carr at this point. I just feel like Derek Carr, look, he's definitely better than Andy Dalton. He's better than Jameis Winston. I'll say that. I just think that, look, the fact that Derek Carr, he's also played in the West Coast offense, that's Pete Carmichael style. If Pete Carmichael is going to do anything, he also needs Derek Carr as well. So I feel like, look, this is bread and butter here, man. I feel like these are two pieces that go together and it might work well. I'm just hoping for that at this point, but I mean, like, it fits. It's a glove on the hand, man. That's how I look at it at this point. So that's pretty much how I feel about it. Debo says, imagine cutting on your Madden 22 last year and sliding Dalton as a starting quarterback, and Winston being 78 and Dalton being 68. You'll be disgusted knowing Dalton would be our future starter. Oh, bro, I was disgusted. I mean, seeing this dude for 14 games, bro. Like, I can't even tell you look, when we first signed Andy Dalton, I was first of all, I found out late. I found out later than others. I'm just sitting up here like, man, we really signed Andy Dalton to be a backup. I just know Jameis is probably going to get hurt because every time Dalton goes somewhere, that's what he starts. I didn't like seeing him with Dallas. I just didn't like what I seen him what he was doing in Dallas. I didn't like him anywhere really, not even with the Bengals. Yes, they made the postseason 4 freaking times, and guess what? Each and every time they got in the postseason, man, they got their asses kicked, and Dalton was part of the reason. So, yeah, man, that says it all. Debo says, WD, what was the lowest point for you last season? I'll say that Cardinals game because that were worse than us and doing backflips after pick 6. Well, as far as Dalton go, that was definitely a low point. I'm gonna say the lowest point just as a team in general was the 49ers game. Anytime you can't score a point, man, and first of all, that was that has never happened in the Sean Payton and Breeze era. We probably scored maybe 3 or 6 points before, but we have never went scoreless in a game until that one. So I'm just like, man, wow. The fact that you can't even score a point, that says it all. And just looking at Dalton, I'm just like, I feel like having Andy Dalton, that's how you score 0 points. That's how you can score 7 in the game in the first drive and not be able to score the rest of the freaking game. Anytime you let the Bucks come back after you kicking their behinds the whole game and you let them come back, I feel like having somebody like Andy Dalton as quarterback, you allow that to happen. So that says it all. Keep it real. Who That Sports Podcast. Shout out to y'all, man. If y'all don't know this man, he do his own thing on his podcast. Make sure y'all check him out. Keeping it real says, WD, do you think Saints will address safety with one of their 3 top 100 picks? Honestly, no, I do not. I would like them to, but just the fact that we probably need a starting defensive tackle, we probably need another running back, we probably need another defensive edge rusher. Heck, you can even say another receiver. I don't see them going safety with the top 100 picks. Now they'll probably do it later. They may even draft another safety. Now look, they signed this dude Udo, and I understand he's not a starter. I don't expect him to start while Marcus May is out for if he's out for any games. But yeah, they definitely need a safety. In fact, I'm gonna look at these positions here, and defensive tackle, that's a given. DE, running back, those are given. If we talking about depth, I would say Titan, unless we talking about a starting Titan over Jawan Johnson to pair with Jawan Johnson. Receiver, linebacker, and there you go, safety. I feel like those are the positions we need to do. Quarterback is pretty much filled in. I don't see us drafting any quarterback, especially after re-signing Jameis Winston. We also have a third quarterback. His name is Jake. I think his name is Jake Luton. We signed him early this offseason, like probably right after the season ended. So that says everything you need to know. I don't see us drafting a quarterback. Debo says that the Steelers game was disgusting too. Yeah, that was another bad one. It feels good to have a real NFL quality starting quarterback. Sounds like last year was just bad memories. But last year was definitely a low point for this team. It shouldn't be a surprise. First year without Sean Payton, as much as Dennis Allen, he sold us some BS, like, oh yeah, he was gonna sit up here and leave off where Sean Payton left us with and put his own spin on it. We saw his spin. That shit, it stank. It definitely stunk, man. Keeping it real says, WD, can you look up scouting report on Wisconsin defensive tackle K. Benton? Yeah, I guess I can do that. Look, there's some D linemen that I've seen that I know Saints could definitely get. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't like spending too much time on certain prospects because usually, a lot of times, especially when it comes to linemen, we don't always get the guy. Now, look, I know Trevor Penning, that was pretty much a given as far as the mock draft goes. Like, we all pretty much assumed that Trevor Penning was gonna be the guy. We also expected Chris Olave to be the receiver that we was gonna get, and sure enough, those things happen. But yeah, I don't like spending too much time on certain prospects because we never go that route, man. We rarely ever do. And I think prior to calling Trevor Penning, which were obvious moves, along with Chris Olave, the last time that happened was Sheldon Rankins. Like we pretty much expected Sheldon Rankins and we drafted him. So yeah, I mean, we talking about like Marcus Davenport, Payton Turner. I know we did trade up. But yeah, that's just pretty telling. Like we don't always go routes that we expect. Debo says, "Son, I want Gales from Bama. Yeah, he's nice. He's nice. As our running back this season, he is a Dollar Tree Icky, if not him Spears. You think he's a Dollar Tree? You think he's a Dollar Tree Alvin Kamara? Because I'm gonna keep it real with you. It wouldn't even surprise me if he's better than Alvin Kamara. That ain't a knock at Alvin Kamara, but just the fact that I feel like his speed is the reason why he might be better than Alvin Kamara. He does everything that Kamara does well, but his speed, he has more speed than Alvin Kamara. And I feel like if you give Alvin Kamara more speed, man, let's keep it real, man. He's probably the best running back in the NFL if you give him speed. So I'm just putting out there along with Derrick Henry and a few others, but. Yeah, I would love Gibbs, man. Keeping the rest is, I think he would be a steal. He probably would, man. Look, we need a starting defensive tackle when it's all said and done. I'm not at this point. What bugs me with the Saints is just some of the poor decisions they made drafting certain players like Davenport, like Payton Turner. Like they drafted and traded up for these guys in the first round, and here we are. We still need to revamp this whole D line, man. Like it was needed. Not a knock at Davion. Well, I'm gonna say it, that it's a knock. Davion Yamada, forget that dude, man. He's with Atlanta now. He's our opponent, so forget him. But he definitely. I felt like he never really lived up to the hype, but he did show a lot of potential. He was a quality starter. I'll just say that. So that was definitely a loss. But regardless, we was going to need somebody in general. I mean, we was calling for a defensive tackle, despite even if we were to keep Ayamali, we was going to need another guy anyway. So Debo says Ingram and Jarvis were huge disappointments as well. I love some of these Saints podcasters trying to say Ingram wasn't washed, averaging 2.2 yards a rush. Debo, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Look, I was one of those guys, and to be frankly honest with you, I feel like Ingram wasn't truly washed. I think that injury he had, I don't know if you remember, but he had like a toe injury, and he was showing flashes on that game he came back, which was the Bucks game. He had I think he caught like 2 screens, and I mean he looked like he was about to get something going with Winston. Unfortunately, Winston went down, and we had Trevor Siemian, Ian Book, and Taysom, and we never, things just never picked up from there. But I felt like he wasn't washed. But now with the injuries, yeah, you could say he's washed at this point now. I feel like ever since that, the O-line was pretty much banged up that season, and AK he was also banged up. So I mean that ain't help anything. But so yeah, Ingram he's probably done. I'm not to say that he probably won't sign with another team. I don't know if he's finished, but I know he's finished with the Saints. I know the Saints finished with him. So yeah, we definitely got to move on from him. As far as Jarvis go though, it just was injuries, man. Like it was injuries. Like Jarvis, man, it's very unfortunate because I really wanted that to work out, man. Hometown dude, man. I'm familiar with Jarvis, so it's like, man, I really wanted that to work out, but it just didn't. Unfortunately, I don't know if he's going to go anywhere. Would we resign him? I'm not too sure about that. But if we talking about receivers, the Saints probably should go after 1 or 2 receivers. They don't have to get the top guy. They don't have to go crazy, but I feel like a Hunter Renfrow, who Derek Carr did play with, I feel like that'll be a solid get. Keeping the real, say Gibbs is that dude. He is AK 2.0. He is my dream pick, man. Big John, man. I might be saying his name wrong, man, but that I know he's going to be long gone before he gets before 29 for sure. But man, I mean, if we were to get him, man, I would love that one, man. I'm telling you, I feel like he would be our running back for a long time as well. Either one of those guys, man, I would be excited to see any one of those guys. Keeping it real also says, I hope Saints address slot receiver in free agency. Yeah, I mean, if you lose Jarvis, you're going to have to, you're likely losing Jarvis, so you're going to have to get a slot guy, man. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man, as far as everything goes, man. It's just, I'm kind of almost out of breath at this point, all this talking, man. But I definitely wanted to catch up because we are planning to do a show sometime this week. And like I said, I don't know if I will be on, but I feel like if we waited any longer, man, there was going to be a lot more stuff happening and a lot more to talk about. I still feel like I probably missed out on a lot of notable things that happen in the league. I mean, we could continue and go around the league right now, but stuff are still probably happening. I did mention that Baker Mayfield, he went to the Tampa Bay Bucks. My fear is that Tampa Bay, they are probably tanking for Caleb Williams, because I mean, if you look, I'm just keeping it. I'm keeping it a buck, man. Look, if you sign in Baker Mayfield, I don't feel like you are trying to win. You can't be trying to win, man. And at this point, if we talking about Kyle Trask, and like, let's keep it real. I honestly see the Carolina Panthers with their coaching staff, and I see Atlanta Falcons as Atlanta can be Atlanta. Some of the moves they make, I feel like they're making some solid moves here and there. I feel like they could be better teams than Tampa Bay, and I just feel like Tampa Bay, they ain't trying to win. They did resign Levante David. They resigned some of their key guys, but I mean, bro, I at this point, bro, I don't see how you can sign Baker Mayfield and just not consider that it's time to tank. I hope it, if that's what they're doing, I hope it, I hope it really goes against their way and, they win a couple of games or so, because I'm not trying to see Caleb in this division, nor should anybody else. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the moment. The Saints, it don't seem like the Saints have done anything since I've been on at the moment. I see that the Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, he has signed with the Washington Commanders. Yeah, so a lot has been going on, man. The Dolphins, they have signed Deshaun Elliott. I like that guy, man. I thought I wanted him a couple of years ago in the draft, but yeah, that's just the recent signings I'm looking at the moment. But yeah, before I get off, man, I just want to say this. Hold on. I see Keeping It Real. He says, WD, tell me if I'm crazy. When we lose AK to suspension, why not have his clone ready to take over his snaps till he gets back? Yes, I know we need a power back, but with Gibbs, you keep an entire playbook. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Look, I mean, bro, I know they could go best player available, and I know they need an edge rusher, and I know they need a defensive tackle. I wouldn't be opposed to a tight end and a receiver if it was those would be shocking, but I feel you though. I feel like they need to get a running back ASAP round one. I would rather do that than sign somebody like Ezekiel Elliott or Leonard Fournette. I would definitely love it. But you're right, man. I mean, we do need a power back, And I think we could use 2 running backs, honestly. I feel like we could use 2 running backs. I mean, I do know there's the other guy, Benjamin, on the roster. Maybe, he has potential. we'll see what happens there. Obviously, he got to make the team again when it comes to this camp, but we'll just see about that. I just want to talk about, before I get off, I want to talk about the league and how they look at the Saints, man. They think another scandal is going on, man. They think that salary cap fraud is going on. They're just trying to figure out how we are maneuvering yeah, man, like how we can getting away with certain stuff, how Loomis is doing what he's doing, man. I'm just like this. like I saw Nick Wright, he had a lot to say. He's salty, I don't really entertain it too much, but it's just so funny, like saying like, oh, Saints are gonna lose a lot of guys. Like, I saw a lot of talk about losing Ayamale, and I'm not gonna downplay it. It is a loss, but it's not as big of a loss as what some are making it out to be. I feel like we needed to revamp the D-line regardless. In my personal opinion, Ellis is the biggest loss. I feel like that's the biggest loss. And we talking about Tuttle. He was a starter, but I mean, let's keep it real. We just need to retool the D-line as a whole, and just in general. Like, people are saying like, okay, yeah, y'all lost this guy. Like, if you laughing about Andy Dalton, like, that's not even a loss. It's considered a win in my book, like, for real. I don't know, dog. It's just like they just don't have the Saints figured out. They don't understand what's going on, but I'm not going to even go into how it's done. All I know is I'm going to just let these guys keep being salty, man, because it's funny. Yeah, every year they trying to predict what's going to happen with the Saints. Oh, Saints are going to lose so many guys, and then every time Saints is tied to a name or potentially signing somebody, they're gonna be like, there's always a bunch of people saying like, oh, like, well, the Saints, they are like, oh, they don't have no money. How are they letting? How is this continuing? Like, how does this keep happening? Hey, bro, I guess they'll never learn, bro, at this point. But all I want to say is, man, shout out to the viewers, shout out to the chat, man. Thank you for watching. I felt like I had to discuss some of this news before things spice up even more before the weekend comes. Because I feel like, look, Mickey and company, they said that they wasn't going to sign too many guys day one, maybe even day 2, 3. But I expect a lot more moves to take place in the upcoming days because of a lot that, just because, we'll probably have a couple of millions to give out, man. So I know we're going to be signing a couple of guys to come. So I just definitely wanted to talk about these moves and stuff like that. And yeah, the next time there'll be a podcast is likely this weekend, so y'all stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, this has pretty much been WD, and yeah, keep rocking with us. And that's pretty much all I got. This is the WDN Chatline podcast, and I am out. Who that for life.